On this episode of Anxiety Free Teen, we discuss a New York Times article on why teenagers act crazy and dive deep into adolescent brain development.
Hello and welcome to the show that empowers parents to help your teen become who they really are and to get your son or daughter back for good. We would like to invite you to get started today by going to anxietyfreeteen.com and watch the latest video that will help you get started fast and dial in quickly on the right way to turn your relationship around today. Welcome, I'm Clifton Brady, teamed up with a kid who loves to snowboard.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yep. Yeah, he just went for the first time a couple weeks ago and just loved sitting on his rear end the entire day.
What the heck?
Tell me that's not true.
It's true, but I don't know. Come on.
That's cool that you still like it even though it was that tough.
Yeah, it was deep powder, but it was a blast.
Yeah. I'm a skier. I have done a lot of wakeboarding. It's not the same as snowboarding, I know, but I understand what you're saying. It's a really cool experience.
Oh, yeah.
The New York Times had a article in 2014 on why teenagers act crazy, which is kind of ironic because you just came from a weekend speaking to 60 to 70 teens about, what was it called, the title?
The Crazy Life of a Modern Teenager.
Exactly. And so he outlined his life and certain experiences and stories. He shared some really good stories. And so this has been on our mind about the crazy life of teenagers and why teenagers are acting crazy. And when I think of crazy, I think of acting out of their mind.
Right.
Not being in their right mind and not knowing who they really are. And they brought that up, that teens don't know who they really are.
And we're trying to find out who we really are, and we have to make all these decisions, and life is crazy.
Yep.
And it's like, why?
Exactly. And it makes sense that teens would dress like other people, because if they don't know who they are, well, they're going to dress like someone they admire.
Right.
In some cases, that's a good thing. And in some cases, it's not so good.
So I can't wear tank tops?
Who do you admire that wears tank tops?
I don't know.
All right. Blast from the 70s.
Michael
80s,
Jordan, yes.
Okay, great.
He wears tank tops.
There we go.
On the court.
All right. So what their main premise in this article, and we won't go through all, I am going to read a couple lines because it's fascinating what they admit, frankly, in the world of psychiatry, but they talk about the amygdala. The amygdala is the main part of the brain that acknowledges fear.
Yeah, processes fear in our brain.
Yep. So if something's happening like if there's a stick on the ground and it looks like a snake and you think it's a snake, that's the amygdala.
Right. It's going to freak you out and be like, hey, that's a snake, to warn you so that you don't die.
Yep.
And then your prefrontal cortex,
yeah,
sounds so official. It tells you, oh, that's just a stick.
Yep.
And so it saves you in some instances, even though you do have a fearful moment.
And apparently with teens, they don't have a prefrontal cortex developed enough to say, that's a stick.
Right. It's going to override it, and that's why we're freaked out and have so much anxiety.
So when kids look at each other wrong, they go, oh, that's a snake of a look.
Right.
And they're freaked out about it. And it just plays in their mind over and over and over and over and over and over and over because there's nothing to stop it like the prefrontal cortex.
Yep.
So with that in mind, this is a couple things that they said in this article. The brain development lag has huge implications for how we think about anxiety and how we treat it. It suggests that anxious adolescents may not be very responsive to psychotherapy that attempts to teach them to be unafraid, like cognitive behavioral therapy, which is zealously prescribed for teenagers. And I've been shouting from the rooftops, guys, this isn't working. We're trying to talk them out of being whatever they're feeling instead of creating the environment so that they don't think it anymore.
Right. I'm not going to go out to the pool and my friend's drowning and be like, hey, you're fine, just push through it, right?
You can do this.
I can't talk him out of drowning. What he wants, or what I need to be doing, is to jump in the pool and pick him out of the water so he can breathe again.
Breathe, yeah. Breath is what he needs. He doesn't need a
pep talk
or a hug while he's underwater.
Or a compliment.
Okay, hugs are going to work because you're going to hug them out of the water. So that's actually a good analogy.
Compliments don't work, though.
But you're not going to compliment them about their swimming trunks.
Hey, your hair's looking on point today, my friend.
Yeah, it looks fantastic hair while you're drowning. All right,
man.
So adolescents are drowning and we're trying to zealously psychotherapy them out of the problem, and it's not working. Now, we're not saying psychotherapy is bad. It's awesome.
Yeah, it helps a ton of people.
Yep. It's just the wrong timing. You don't therapy them. That's the wrong way of saying it. You don't give them therapy while they're drowning. You don't put your aspirator on, go underwater with your goggles and comfort and sit in a little chair there and talk to them
little
about their
chair.
problems. They're drowning. So we go on. What we have learned about should also make us think twice and then some more. This is quoting from the New York Times article about the ever-rising use of stimulants in young people because these drugs may worsen anxiety and make it harder for teenagers to do what they are developmentally supposed to do. They're supposed to go and do and be, and so what are we doing? We're numbing them.
Numbing them.
Yeah, we're numbing them.
We're supposed to go out and have these ideas and take risks and go after our dreams and try to figure out, ways and have that patience to make a difference. And that's why we have so many good ideas, and that's why we take those risks. We push barriers. That's when we get older, that goes away because our prefrontal cortex says no.
Yep.
Keeps us in line.
Now, parents, this is driving us crazy that they're not thinking. Well, now we found out why, because they don't have a thinker.
Hey.
Oh, you're here still. Sorry, buddy. So it's okay that they're trying new stuff. You gotta feed the brain while it's growing. Mm-hmm. If this part of the brain is not growing very well and it's not developed, like the prefrontal cortex, we gotta feed it. It's like a tree. You don't look at the tree outside and go, oh, that's too bad that tree's not growing. I guess eventually it's going to grow.
Man.
It's probably going to grow out of it, right? Like teens.
Right.
And you know what? Actually, there is a lot of science and studies that say they do grow out of it, but why not make that go quicker?
Right.
I don't know about you parents, but I'm a little impatient. I want my teens to grow quicker in the mind, right? Not grow up and leave the house. It makes me really sad, actually. But I want them to grow up and feel happier quicker and not have to wait till they're 25 until this
to potentially grow out of it. But
yes.
But some people don't grow out of it, and some people become drug addicts in the process, and that stinks.
So if we're thinking about the process of feeding, if the brain is growing and it hasn't developed yet, feed it.
Right.
It's just like a muscle, but a muscle has to be stressed in order to want to grow. So we need to give kids, our teens, our youth, good quality questions. We were talking about this the other day, and you said something about if we don't give them good quality questions, then what does a teen do?
Yeah, us as teens, we're gonna have questions anyways. Right. We're always questioning things. We're going through discovery period, trying to find out who we really are, which is so important. And there's a lot of ways to do that, especially by balancing your brain. But if parents or mentors don't give us questions, we're just gonna question things by ourselves, and we're gonna question without the nutrients to give us that growing during the stress.
Right.
And then we end up in bad places.
So the question you end up asking is a terrible question.
Right. It's not the question I should be asking.
Right. And what would that look like? Let's think about this. What would a bad question be that you would say that without help?
A bad question that I could ask or teens could ask is we question things like relationships, religion, our society. A bad question could be, when is the right time to kiss or hold hands or whatever? And that's not necessarily the right question to ask. It's, should I even be a boyfriend, girlfriend, or even past that? Same with religion or faith. Is God real, or does faith exist? That sort of thing. Those are questioning everything, right?
Mm-hmm. And they're fear-based questions.
They're very fear-based questions.
And when we come from fear, not love, it's the wrong question.
And then there's that conflict.
Yeah, and we go down the wrong road automatically, not because the teens are trying to go down the wrong road. It's just their paradigm. Their perspective is everything's aligned to kill me. Everybody hates me. I hate myself. I don't do well at school. My teacher just told me so. Everything is fear-based.
And they don't know who they are, so they have nothing to base themselves off of.
Yep. And hopefully that fear would drive them into a relationship with their Heavenly Father and help them know who they really are by their relationship to Him.
Yeah, this fear-based questioning can either make or break us.
Yep. And that's fantastic. Thank you for that wonderful insight. I love that.
You're welcome.
If the teen doesn't get questioned by their good quality question, like a kind, loving, help them grow
understanding question,
they're going to have their own questions, and that just goes into a spiral. It just doesn't.
Right. It's hard to question when you're drowning.
Right. So let's finish on the last quote at the end of this, and then we'll end. Might our promiscuous use of stimulants impair the ability of adolescents to suppress learned fear, something that is normal, a normal part of development, and make them more fearful adults? Yeah, that's a really good question to ask. Also, he says, And could stimulants unwittingly increase the risk of PTSD in the adolescents exposed to trauma? In truth, we haven't a clue. So if they're going through a trauma and they numb them out and don't let them reason through it and figure it out with quality questions like we're talking about.
And some help of a balancing of the brain.
What he's saying there is we don't know, but there's a good chance we might be really messing them up.
Yeah, the therapy's not working, the drugs aren't working, in some cases making it so much more worse.
Yeah. So if we're just patching up the problem in the middle, if we're building a building and we have a cracked foundation and we just put a patch on it and say, you know what, it's going to grow out of it. This building's going to be fine, and they grow the building, it's going to crumble. It's going to have that weakness forever, and it's going to go up into the walls. The concrete's going to crack. The sheetrock's going to crack.
Yeah, it's going to start warping and.
Yeah. And if you have any kind of shake, it's going to be the weak point, and they're done. And kids and adults and teens, we get shooken up all the time, and we need to have that solid foundation.
Oh, yes.
Our hope is that you're going to ask yourself, Sarah, Tom, Jessica, who are you? What do you have to accomplish in this life? What are you meant to do and to be? How would it feel to know that? To know that what you do when you wake up in the morning has meaning, and that you end the day and you bless some people's lives because you felt solid and you're able to lift and build others. How would that feel, Austin?
Amazing. I've had small glimpses of that, waking up and being like, yes, I get to wake up to do this. I get to accomplish this. And as my brain's more balanced and as I'm working towards figuring out who I really am and have found a little bit of that already, it's really cool.
Absolutely. That is your future. That is your future and the future of your parents, and parents the future of your kids. You can have that. We are not perfect. However, we do have a glimpse of what that looks like more often today than we ever have before, because we're all exercising these good quality questions. We're discovering who we really are as a family, as individuals, and we're cheating. We're balancing our brain chemistry.
It's so simple and so powerful.
Yep, it's nice to cheat sometimes in a good way. It's like cheating to grow your garden. It's really not cheating. It's just doing what's natural.
Right.
So we want that for you too. So we hope this opened up your mind a little bit today and helped you see the process of going on. And just remember, everybody at some point in time does need a cast, and that's the medication and the psychotherapy. Some people need that. It's okay.
To survive, right?
It's a survival thing.
Thriving gives you a life that's worth living.
Austin and I would like to thank you again for listening to our Anxiety Free Teen podcast. We would like to invite you to go to anxietyfreeteen.com, where we continue the conversation of helping teens become who they really are.